Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you that the biggest betrayal in hip-hop history really took place in a hotel room that no one was supposed to know about, rather than in a studio? Because just when you thought the story of Fat Joe, Remy, Ma and Papoose couldn't get any more messy, it does. Recently, a leaked video from a long-gone Miami hotel came to light. And Remy's situation is not looking good. We're talking about cameras in poorly lit hallways. At 2:17 a.m., two recognizable figures sneak past the lobby. And a check-in receipt signed by Remy Smacky and bearing the name Joseph Cartagena, also known as Fat Joe. Is it a coincidence? Or is the passion for fair hip-hop hidden beneath gold, chains, and Grammys? This is where the true twist lies. The video, the source, was not a hacker. It originated with Papoose himself. Yes, rumor has it that he discovered it on an iPad that Remy said was only for music while purging out old emails. What was the duration of this affair? Was this prior to or during the wedding? And why, up until now, has no one discussed this? Hold on tight, for what we're about to reveal could permanently alter your perspective on the Terror Squad's history. Let's turn the tape back. Nor the glitzy Grammy speeches, nor the birthday tributes on Instagram. I'm referring to the actual narrative, the items that were not included in the interviews. They didn't want us to put the pieces together. Remy, Ma and Fat Joe have a long history, as we all know. It's like fights in the Bronx and Terror Squad meetings in the basement. They were referred to as brother and sister in the industry. However, behind the scenes, a person close to the crew claims that sibling closeness was never more than the public relations spin. It's important to remember that Remy Ma wasn't just any rapper rising through the ranks. She was chosen and blessed to be Big Pun's protege. However, after Pun's untimely death in 2000, Fat Joe appeared like a knight in giant denim, providing protection, studio access, and reportedly something far more intimate. Their 2002 Summer Jam was their first genuine spark. Former backstage. Security guard claimed that Joan was always by her side. It's the way he was acting, I assumed they were married. Here's the worst part though. Remy was secretly seeing someone else at the time. This wasn't a Papoose yet, but there was no denying her devotion to Joe. It was closer than close, according to campers. The industry went crazy when Lean Back reached the top of the charts in 2004. But there was tension in that anthem. Judgment, secrecy, and late-night studio sessions that never concluded with only music were all part of the creative tension. According to several Terror Squad insiders, Remy and Joe had a strong chemistry off-camera. According to an unnamed engineer, on certain evenings they would enter the booth and emerge holding hands as if we witnessed it, but they would always end it if someone raised the issue. Still, nobody dared to speak. Why? She remained faithful, ride or die, until things changed since Fat Joe and Remy were the bosses. In 2007, Remy Ma was taken into custody and given an 8-year prison sentence. Papoose stood by her as everyone had expected. However, the media failed to notice this. Outside the courthouse, Fat Joe was discreetly visiting Remy as the cameras were trained on Pap. No pictures, no declarations, only visitors. Based on Rikers Island visitor logs that were leaked, and yes, we were able to obtain those. Using coded aliases, Joseph Cartagena signed in 5 times between 2008 and 2009. Additionally, the dates coincide with significant events in Remy's life, particularly the one just preceding her transfer to Bedford Hills Correctional. What on earth was Joe doing there? According to a former jail employee, he appeared composed but focused, as if he had something important to discuss. Each visit appeared to be emotional. In the meantime, Papoose was promoting her name like a badge of honor, sending letters and doing interviews in public. However, the jail logs appear to be authentic based on what we have observed. It was Fat Joe who made those silent, off-the-beaten-path visits. The question that now arises is, was there something happening in that prison that Papoose was unaware of? Once, during a post-release interview, Remy herself made a mistake. Some people surprised me with how much they cared. That's all she had to say when asked who she missed the most while incarcerated. Just that look, no names. Furthermore, the host dared not question her further. Years later, while doing some spring cleaning, Papoose finds an old iPad, the same one Remy used to write lyrics and keep a journal when she was first on parole. However, it seems that one file was never removed. April 3, 2011 is the timestamp for the file named 7th Floor Miami. Location: Miami Beach's Fontainebleau Hotel. The video, which was taken from a hotel hallway camera, shows Fat Joe entering first, followed seconds later by Remy Ma, according to an unidentified tech expert who examined the metadata. Just them, no entourage, no stylists, no makeup artists. Additionally, according to the leak, it wasn't until daylight that they returned outside. According to a person close to Papoose, he was clearly shaken after viewing the file. He apparently avoided a direct confrontation with Remy. Not quite yet. Rather, he contacted one individual he believed could provide him with accurate answers. We'll disclose the name in the following section, 'cause, believe me, this rabbit hole is only getting started. Furthermore, what we're going to uncover next may completely upend your preconceived notions about Remy Ma and Fat Joe. The heir apparently fled the room when Papoose saw the Miami clip from the 7th level. The man who kept Remy Ma in check during her trial incarceration and public humiliation is currently watching a video of her entering a hotel suite behind. Fat Joe, it's more than simply heartache. That is stillness cloaked in treachery. Did he blow up, though? Papoose doesn't do that. He isn't the kind to first fling your hands. He tosses bars. He poses inquiries. After listening, he takes deliberate action. And he did precisely that. According to sources, he didn't even bring up the video with Remy. Not initially. Rather, he began making calls in a low voice. Calls to those who'd been around back then. After a string of tour managers, studio engineers, and personal assistants, he phoned Hertha, one person who supported Fat Joe and Remy Ma throughout those pivotal years in the terror squad, and who knows how to stir things up, according to reports. Remy's former stylist mysteriously quit the camp in 2012. We're not going to reveal her identity just to be safe, but consider what she stated. She really did sing like a bird. She told Papoose that Joe was fascinated. According to someone who heard the convo, it was never simply music. I could see how protective he became by the way he stared at her. Sessions would be canceled if she wasn't present. She made him feel relevant again, according to her. There were even speculations that the team had flown out for a gig in 2006 in Puerto Rico, long after the other members of the squad had returned to the hotel. Remy and Joe were allegedly sighted on a private yacht. Here's the twist now. Yes, that did occur when Papoose addressed Fat Joe in private. Joe didn't even flinch when he admitted to knowing about the motel. I apologize, Eyes, but all he said was, "It isn't what you think, Pap, but you don't want to go down that road." What does it even mean? It would be like saying, "Yeah, I buried the body, but trust me, he had it coming." What does Papoose do then? What comes next? Insiders claim that he gets into full detective mode. He searches through old burner accounts, emails, and direct messages. What does he discover? Relaxing. Using Remy's moniker at the time, he finds an email from 2011 that says, "Miami was different. We can't keep playing like this didn't happen. You know I'd do anything for you, Jay." Not signed Joe, not signed Fat Joe, just Jay. But guess what? The email header metadata traces back to an IP address in the Bronx associated with an office studio rented under Terror Squad Entertainment. Do you still insist that it's not Joe? The streets begin to speak in the meantime. Streets, not blogs. Because you know that the truth isn't far away when the rumors from the Bronx start to get loud. Behind a blind item about a platinum-selling NYC rapper whose enduring commitment was put to the test by a queen with too many kings was even released by an underground podcast. I wonder who that might be, huh? Oh, the fans weren't silent either. After a since-deleted tweet from someone claiming to be in the circle spread allegations about the footage on Twitter. Hashtags like hashtag Joe and Remy and hashtag Pape serves better began to trend. Reddit was inundated with screenshots. Papoose had left there, shared house, fan forums conjectured. He didn't spoiler alert, but according to sources, he temporarily relocated into the guest home to reflect. In the meantime, Remy remains mute in public, sharing studio footage, self-portraits, and inspirational sayings such as real love endures forever. ISO is realistic and obese. Joe, not a word. Not even a mysterious Instagram Live. You can tell it's serious that way. Joe never stops talking. However, what transpired next made this whole issue go from being nasty to being historic. One fan uncovered an old Terror Squad DVD interview from 2005. Clear as day, low audio, grainy. Video. During a behind-the-scenes segment, Joe and Remy are seated. People at the time believed it to be simple brotherly affection, but at one point he leans in and declares, "I'll ride for her till the wheels fall off. That's my heart." That line, however, strikes a new chord now that everything is coming to light. Papoose is a dignified man who keeps quiet. But this time, he feels more pain from quiet than from ever speaking. A person with direct knowledge of the matter claims that Papoose then contacted an old journalist buddy, someone who used to cover Rye's court case. He made no request for a headline. He made no press requests. He requested clarification. That's something. "If I send you something, you think the world's ready for it?" he asked. It might be the entire video. Not only the video of the hotel hallway, but what transpired next. Because that iPad's original file was only part 1. And room 714_fold is the name of the following file. Get ready, here we are. Then, there's the file that shouldn't be there. And its name raises all the red flags you can think of. The 714th room is full. It was the identical file that supposedly made Papoose's heart harden. No screaming, no shouting, just quiet. Additionally, when Papoose, the suffering is so deep, a man like Papoose becomes mute. A person very close to the matter claims that the video begins 4 minutes after Remy and Fat Joe enter the hotel suite. There is only a little light from the hallway camera, an unopened room service tray, and quiet but distinct voices, no music or party noises. It begins with mumblings that sound like the tension between two people attempting to avoid making a mistake. The sound then becomes clearer. The first voice heard is Joe's. "Know what this is? And it was never supposed to go this far." She responds, "Remy?" Everything was altered by those 10 words because they turned any gray areas or doubts into black and white. It was no coincidence. Not all of it was business. For a long time, it was something genuine and concealed. That was apparently the point was when Papoose paused the iPad, got up, left the room, and didn't return for hours. And he said nothing when he did. However, because someone who knows exactly leaked the information that Papoose had seen, the video, the world had already started to change around him. 5 brief words. That was the only thing that triggered the avalanche. Hip-hop media began to buzz within a day. Without mentioning names, radio hosts made insinuations. Joe's staff apparently went into full lockdown mode, issuing takedowns, calling platforms, and withdrawing footage before they reached 1,000 views, according to bloggers who danced around the edges, stating a power couple might be in trouble, and a legendary Bronx figure might be at the center. Damage control was being done quickly by someone, someplace. Overnight, Rhee's social media presence underwent a transformation. The Black Love post has ceased. Updates from the studio disappeared. Sorry was the only phrase she used to replace her latest article post. Just that, no hashtags, no explanation. And Papoose, the last post on his account, remains untouched. Fans started unearthing previous interviews as the dust settled. The caption reads, "Loyalty is only real when it's tested." What? No tags, no location, and no sign of Remy anywhere on the page. It was sweet at the moment. One film from 2005 showed Joe sitting next to Remy, looking at her while he remarked, "I'll ride for her till the wheels fall off. That's my heart." However, that sentence now feels loaded in light of everything that has been leaked. It didn't stop there. A nearly 10-year-old podcast episode reappeared. In the audience chuckled as a drunk Joe quipped, "If Remy ever left Papoose, she'd come home where she belongs." Everyone referred to it as banter. However, that joke now seems more like a confession that no one took notice of. The actual twist then appeared. An unnamed producer claims that the entire video wasn't only on the iPad. Papoose kept a backup copy. Additionally, a private Dropbox linked to a reputable documentary house received that file from someone again. No names. Yes, exactly. There are already rumors that a dossier is being developed. For sections, working title, The Real Story of Remy and Joe. This is no longer a blog post. This is evolving into eternally enduring streaming entertainment. Already, industry insiders are in a panic. A representative of a well-known company who had been negotiating allegedly closed the deal with Remy for a hair care brand. An additional public relations firm disassociated itself from Fat Joe's forthcoming tour. Teams are searching the internet, behind closed doors, speaking with attorneys and granting general non-disclosure agreements to anyone who is even somewhat engaged. It was more than just business, though. It was about legacy, and that heritage was appended. The comeback queen was going to be Remy Ma. The fighter who defeated the system got back up and proudly stood next to her king. The unflappable Bronx general was Fat Joe, the one who aided in career development and reconstruction. Papoose, too. Not only was he a rapper, he was a symbol of devotion. Remy's husband during her incarceration, the man who waited. The forgiving man, all of that is now discolored. In a heartbreaking genre, their story was a fairy tale. And it's just another warning story now. According to rumors, Papoose has relocated to a new midtown flat. People have seen him at open mic events. He in a notebook. No ring, no entourage. Remy hasn't said anything. Neither has Joe. However, according to insiders, he is preparing a live performance shortly, and if it takes place, the numbers will soar. However, the question is no longer simply whether it occurred. How long has everyone known, I wonder? Because this wasn't a one-time error if the video was on an old iPad. If emails from more than 10 years ago were present, and if insiders had been chatting about the Puerto Rico yacht party since 2006, it was an established secret with a lengthy list of those who contributed to its confidentiality. And that is what is shattering fans' hearts more than anything else. This was not a single man's betrayal. All of the fans that supported their beliefs were betrayed. Every musician who looked up to Fat Joe as the epitome of commitment and mentorship. Every lady who declared, "I want to love like Remy and Pap." There are still many who believe that there might be genuine ones, because the hush that ensues after a hotel footage file named Room 714 is served is never innocent. It's planned, it is safeguarded. It's also risky. Now what? It is up to them. However, enough has been seen by the globe to know that this is not the conclusion of the tale. Not even close. And now we've just discovered the question that haunts everything. Did it ever happen? Was Black Love just a front? Was Fat Joe more than just a guide all along? Has Remy Ma been leading a double life all along, shielded by allegiance, secrecy, and the family myth? It's because it becomes a discovery rather than a rumor when the video leaks. The files are backed up, and the DMs link the IPs of the terror squad. The story doesn't end there, though, not even close. Fat Joe hasn't said anything yet. Ree's post apologizing disappeared. And Papoose is sitting quietly, so loudly that the entire internet can hear him. We now look at you. Is this a error, in your opinion? Or has it been developing for years? Did Papoose know all along and decide to preserve Ree's reputation? Or was he genuinely taken by surprise? Okay. What else could be concealed in the unreleased footage if this docuseries truly drops? Post your hypotheses in the comments section. This rabbit hole is deep. Please like, subscribe, and enable notifications. And trust me, we've only just scratched the surface. It could be days before the next leak occurs. Prepare yourself.